This August, my friend Dale McGowan will be releasing a book about relationships between people who are atheists and religious. And during wedding ceremonies when, the officiant says something like, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, well, Dale's book is called In Faith and in Doubt. And in doing the research for his book, he ended up speaking to a lot of couples who are in these mixed religious relationships, for lack of a better term, and he got a good sense of what works and what doesn't. In another video, we'll talk about the problems that can occur between atheists and religious people who are in relationships. But for now, let's talk about 10 of the things you can do to make those relationships work. Don't try to convert your partner. Encourage his or her autonomy. Go ahead, discuss and debate your beliefs all you want, but you have to have respect for that other person, even if you don't necessarily agree with their ideas, or even if you think those ideas are wrong. Talk about your differences of belief as early on in the relationship as possible. And that doesn't mean you should, go on your first date and say, this is what I believe. Maybe that's not a first date sort of thing. But as soon as you feel comfortable doing so in a relationship, talk about what it is that you believe or what it is that you don't believe. And when the time comes, talk about how you may want to raise your kids. And talk about how you feel about different, social issues where religion is a factor. Things like gay marriage and abortion rights and things like that where religion sometimes causes conflict. Work out agreements when it comes to shared practices like church-going or parenting. If you're an atheist, are you going to be okay if your partner goes to church on Christmas and Easter or every week? Are you going to have to go to those services with your partner? Is your partner going to be okay going to church services alone? Are there deal breakers when it comes to how you practice your faith? You guys should discuss that. Focus on your shared values. Even if you disagree about where our universe came from and what happens to you after you die, odds are there's probably a lot of overlap between how you live your life on a regular basis. So focus on that. Those values come into play every day, whereas the more existential questions probably don't affect how you go about living your day-to-day lives. Make sure personal respect is non-negotiable. You don't have to respect your partner's beliefs and ideas, but you do need to respect your partner. The second that respect disappears is the time when your relationship is going to start heading toward the exit doors. Engage in and learn about your partner's worldviews. It's not enough that, they believe something different and I'll just ignore it. No, you should get to know exactly what it is your partner believes, if for no other reason that it lets you get a better sense of this person that you're spending the rest of your life with. Remember that the opinions of religious people don't necessarily match up perfectly with the beliefs of their church or their pastor. And remember that if you're with someone who's non-religious, his or her views don't necessarily line up with that of other prominent atheists or anti-theists. You can be a Christian and think that marriage equality makes perfect sense, and you can be a Christian and say that the Bible doesn't have to be taken literally. At the same time, you can be an atheist who thinks, religion is probably a force for good in the world. Don't assume the loudest voices who tend to represent your partner's beliefs also represent them. Raise children with the freedom to choose their own religious identities. Don't label them from birth. And this is not confusing. Far from it. Giving your children a chance to learn about what daddy believes or mommy believes, that's great. Give them an opportunity to learn why you two have different beliefs, what those beliefs are, and how you found a way to reconcile it. And in fact, expose them to other religious beliefs as well. At some point, they're going to have to make a decision for themselves anyway. There's no reason that's a decision that needs to be made when they're children. Let them know you will love them no matter what decision they end up making. A lot of us as atheists come from families that were very disappointed with us when we decided that we didn't believe in God. Do you really want your kids growing up with that sort of fear of telling, his or her parents what it is they believe? Support and protect your partner when it comes to any disrespect they may be getting from people who share your worldview, especially extended family members. Just because you respect what your partner believes or doesn't believe, it doesn't mean your parents are going to feel the same way. And if you guys are all getting together, that could make for some very awkward dinners with your extended family. But if they criticize your partner for what he or she believes, you should be able to come to their defense. And I'm not saying you have to say they're right, But I am saying you can deflect the stereotypes. You can tell them, no, the stuff you're complaining about, that's not what my partner believes. And by the way, there's nothing wrong. So what if she believes something different? So what if he doesn't believe in God? There's nothing wrong with that. You know, you need to take that person's side, at least in terms of deflecting the unwanted attention off of them. Finally, spread the word. If you're one of these people who are in these unique atheist religious relationships, you have this responsibility, I think, to help dispel the stereotypes. So if your pastor says something like atheists are immoral, you as a religious person should be the first person to correct them. And if your atheist friends say something like, oh, religious people aren't intelligent, you should be able to defend your partner and say, yes, my partner is very intelligent. He or she just came to a different conclusion. So those are some of the ways to make those religious, non-religious partnerships work. But it doesn't always work. If you check out this other video, you could see a list of warning signs that those relationships may not be going so well. Again, all of these ideas come from Dale McGowan's new book, In Faith and in Doubt, and there's a link below if you'd like to pre-order a copy. I highly recommend it. I've had a chance to check it out. And by the way, if you're in one of these unique relationships where you're not religious and your partner is religious or vice versa, let us know how you make it work in the comments below. Give some of the other viewers some advice on how you found a way to reconcile your differences.